Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Beloved brothers and sisters, I greet you with a wonderful greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's choicest peace, blessings, salutations, and love be on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Time has gone so quick. Soon we find ourselves 10 days of the month of Ramadan is gone, and we ask ourselves, what have we really done to improve ourselves, to transform our personalities? You know, nowadays, especially amongst, and sorry to say this, amongst our youth, and it's not all of them, I'm not painting everybody with the same brush here. You know, they have taken to the Western way of life, and sometimes they go astray because of the friends that they choose. And people have taken so easily to drugs and to intoxicants nowadays. And sometimes they even question, those who have a limited understanding of the Quran, I will say very limited understanding, they actually ask you the question, where does Allah say that intoxicants is haram? Now let us deal with that for one moment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in chapter 5 verse 90, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ba'da a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه لعلكم تفلحون إنما يريد الشيطان أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر ويصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. صدق الله العظيم. O you who believe that truly intoxicants and gambling, it is the abomination or the work or the rijsum min amal shaitan. It is all his dirty work. You know, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh gave a beautiful description of, or I will say, the meaning of the word khamr. To us, when we talk about khamr, we're talking about the liquid form that we drink. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh says, Kullu ma khamr al-aql. Everything that befogs and beclouds the mind, that is known as khamr. So when they ask you about khamr, about intoxicants, what people don't realize that intoxicants and gambling was so entrenched in the people, it became a habit. It was just part of the natural order, the way of life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite mercy and knowing His creation, He just didn't come and make everything haram and says, look, it is now haram, you must stop doing it. Knowing that He is entrenched in the people's habit and it's going to take them time to change. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a beautiful methodology of how to change things gradually, stage by stage. And therefore, we go back to Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 219, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. Listen to these words. They ask you about intoxicants and gambling. What do you say to them? قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. There is major sin in it. Not just ismun kabir. Now, in their minds, at the time when they were doing it, they were drinking, they were gambling. There was some benefit for them in there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. If you think there's benefit in it, know that the sin, the crime is greater and the punishment is greater than what you think of the benefit. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. So this is the first stage, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing out to them, listen man, come on, it is not about what you think. It is not about the benefit you think you can accrue out of it. It is what I'm saying to you, that your sin is greater. Then comes the second stage, because the prohibition of intoxicants and gambling came in 3 stages. Or shall I say, the intoxicants. Second stage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى حتى تعلموا ما تقولون. Surah An-Nisa, verse 43. The second stage. Oh, you who believe, don't even go near your salah. Never mind, don't make your salah, don't perform it. Don't go near. لا تقربوا الصلاة. Don't go near it. وأنتم سكارى. What does that mean? وأنتم سكارى. Your mind is beclouded. You are drunk, in other words. You don't know what you are saying. You don't know what you are doing. So don't go near your salah even. حتى تعلموا. Until you become conscious of what you are saying. ما تقولون. You are aware now. You are conscious of what you are doing. So don't go near your salah. So in other words, the prohibition was not, do not drink. Do not take intoxicants. But the prohibition was, if you are drunk at the time, don't go near your salah. Don't go make salah. Now some people misinterpret that. And they take this particular verse, Surah An-Nisa, verse 43, and they say, hey, but Allah says, don't go near your salah. So in other words, if I'm intoxicated or if I am under the influence of drugs, I don't have to make salah. But once I'm okay, so that means I can still do it. No, misinterpretation. Total misinterpretation. Then came the third stage, the verse that we've just read. And that is, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Then Allah says, فَاجْتَنِبُوا. فَاجْتَنِبُوا, avoid it. Stay away from it. In other words, it is haram. Al-ijtinab, you must go away from it. Don't use it. You can't abuse it. You can't use it any longer. You can't drink any longer. Even if you are intoxicated, you're not going to go near your salah. All that is gone now. This is the final word from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Why? Why must I stay away from intoxicants and gambling? إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ. The intention. What is the irada of shaitan? What does he want? Shaitan wants to bring about animosity, enmity amongst your people. He wants hatred. Come now. We witness it on a daily basis. People are intoxicated. How do they abuse their spouses? Whether it is from the one side to the other side, the moment they become intoxicated, the abuse goes on. The theft goes on to sustain their habits, to steal and just to sustain that little bit of drugs and to take it all the time. They cheat. They do everything that is wrong. Come now. وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفَعِهِمَا. Did Allah say that? Their crime and their sin is greater than the benefits. Look at what's happening to our society today because of the intoxication that they are living with. My dear brothers and sisters. This is the Quran teaching us what is the true character of a believer. Stay away from these wrong things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning us from. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَن يُوقِعَ بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ فِي الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ. Through, he uses the khamr and the maisir. He uses the intoxicants and gambling as a tool. People have gambled their homes away. They lost their families. They lost their vehicles, everything because of gambling. وَيَصُدَّكُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. And he prevents you. And he keeps a barrier so that you do not remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَعَنِ الصَّلَاةِ. And also not to make salah. Then Allah says, فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. Are you done? You finished now? Stop that. The moment that ayah was revealed, فَهَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُنْتَهُونَ. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh says, you could find the barrels of wine being thrown into the streets, and people's iman was so strong that they wouldn't touch a drop of liquor any longer. That goes for any intoxicants. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability and the strength of our iman, the conviction of our iman, to stay away from the rijsum min amali shaitan, to stay away from the abomination, from the evil work of shaitan, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must keep us together with love and compassion all the time, and respect with dignity and honor all the time. This is the month where we start respecting ourselves respecting our families. This is the month where we transform and try and be better human beings, the way we speak to one another, the way we approach one another. Especially when it comes near to iftar time, then everybody is hungry and they start fighting with one another and they start shouting at each other. My dear brothers and sisters, this is all the work of shaitan, and he will stoke. Don't tell me the shaitan is tied up. No, the shaitan al-jinn is tied up. But that shaitan that works inside of you, that nafs al-ammara to bisu, is still there. People will get angry. They say the wrong things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you to see the beauty of Ramadan and the beauty of fasting. Therefore, just before iftar time, it's a time of istijaba. Make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must give us the strength and conviction of our iman, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must accept our siyam, our qiyam, our salah, our zakah, whatever we are doing of goodness and good intentions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us abundantly and eternally, inshaAllah. May the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us to see through the rest of the month of Ramadan, inshaAllah. Only Allah knows what reward we will receive. But do everything, not for reward, but for the satisfaction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.